Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. I thought I would sit down and do another video for you guys and gals. Let me get a sip of my water first. My beautiful radio voice going, and let's talk about this. Yes, my head is almost healed. One of those things is what it is. All right, let's get over to the topic. People need to lose this idea that they can completely skip the big basic barbell movements and still get jacked efficiently. They also need to lose the idea that they can skip isolation movements and still get really jacked appropriately. All right, these sort of philosophies, which many people have adopted, are extremely limiting and they don't work that well for most people. Okay, the people who get results with these extreme ideas are usually the most genetically gifted people, usually running plenty of stuff with it, right? Because genetics alone usually won't get them there. They get these ideas. It's like, well, no one exercise is required to gain muscle. And that's a cute philosophy. And in theory, it's true. But in practice, it's really not. It's not what we've seen in the real world. It's not what we have observed. And we have watched people fail when they try to adopt these philosophies more than anything. Why? Because they are limiting the tools they're willing to use. They are limiting the tools they're willing to use. And it works both ways, and it is a cope. And I have been on the other end. I've been on the end that says, really all we need are all these big movements. We can get big and jacked. Except certain muscles get big and jacked and others lag behind. Even if you try to play catch up later after the fact, right? Well, I'll just add this in way on the tail end of the workout. For all this other work, I'll do a couple sets of curls. Right? How well did that work out for me? I left my arms lagging, didn't it? That's why I have to have an arm day now. Got a massive back. And I got glutes and hamstrings for days. Right? Most people agree with that who see all that. Yeah, your entire posterior side is ridiculous. What about the guns, man? And what have we observed with that? That's exactly what happens. People end up with major lacking muscles even though they get big in certain places and they still don't look the part unless they're a genetic freak. Okay, unless they're a genetic freak. Because they're not willing to use all of it. And why do people do that on that end? I can tell you why. Because we got bored. Like, I don't want to do a bunch of curls. I don't want to do a bunch of isolation work. It's boring. I want to move big weight. That's why I lift. Move big weight. Okay? But it doesn't build everything that you want it to build. And you're leaving gains on the table. Then you take people on the other extreme. You know what? I'll just do pump work, machine work, isolation work. They usually end up with nice biceps, maybe nice side delts, and that's about it. They end up being small and sucked up. Turn them to the side, you look at them, two-dimensional, nothing there. Like, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to do the big barbell movements because you know what? They're not even that good for building muscle. And there have been some successful bodybuilders who didn't use them. And you notice that's always the way it comes. There have been some. Most of the greats used them. Why do you think that is? Because they work. They do build that overall size and thickness. They do build those go muscles. They maybe don't always build the muscles you see looking in the mirror up from the front from this angle where I'm at. But they will build it. And they're efficient. They work a lot of muscles very effectively. You can build a lot of overall size. Okay? Won't always be proportionate, but they are a big part of it. The reality, if you are not willing to use every tool available to you in the toolbox, you have all these tools available, you're not willing to utilize all of them, you're going to limit what you are willing to do to get bigger, to gain muscle. Then you should expect less than ideal results because you have chosen a self-limiting philosophy. Irrespective of what training style they used, every single person I've ever met throughout my many years, or spoke to, seen how they train, I'm talking about a few influencers, and they're people I actually met, saw what they do, without fail, no matter whether they did almost HIIT type training, heavy duty type training, whether they did serious bro volume. Without fail, there are two things that I've noticed. they're all strong on some basic variations of the big barbell movements. Even if it's not the exact squat, bench, and deadlift, they're real strong in some variations of the barbell movements. Notice I didn't say the dumbbell. Whether if it wasn't the flat bench, and it usually was, it was the incline. It was always one or the other or both. Okay, some sort of squat with a barbell. I've seen some who liked front squats. Don't care whether it was a high bar squat, a low bar squat. Some sort of squat. Some sort of deadlift, even if it wasn't a normal conventional deadlift. What would it be? Even RDL, a stiff leg deadlift, something. They didn't do really heavy, crazy, strong rows. They were real good at pull-ups or chin-ups without fail. And they were putting up big numbers. They all also pushed their accessory work really hard. I've never seen a guy with a truly impressive physique who didn't push his curls hard. And I mean train them hard. Not even saying they cheated or anything. Not saying they did anything crazy. But they did hard sets to failure. Real hard sets. They treated them serious. Never seen a guy with truly impressive lower body who didn't come in and do some sort of hamstring work and push it hard. All of them. Right? Usually the guys I've seen with the biggest legs push some sort of hamstring movement hard. They usually work good at squats and even the leg press or a hack squat. Almost all of them. Same thing upper body. Almost every guy I've seen with a phenomenal chest was a strong bencher, right? With a correct bench press that works the chest, and they probably push some sort of fly, some sort of isolation movement. You see where we're going with this? These are the people who usually have the best results. The people who say, I'm going to use these different tools. I'm going to take every muscle that I want to look really jacked, and I'm going to hammer it with a big movement, and I'm going to move a lot of weight for a lot of reps. They get real strong on them, and they isolate those same muscles they really care about. Anything that might be even close to lagging, they come in and they isolate it through full ranges of motion, taking sets to failure, going hard. Okay? Across the board. I've seen this consistently over the years, and I would say this is one of the biggest things they all have in common. Those two things. Almost always. Why? Because they're using the different tools and saying, I'm going to work these muscles from the different ways. I'm going to make sure I get all the muscle fibers. I'm going to do the real big movements to build my base, and I'm going to push it hard, big weight for a lot of reps, and then I'm going to isolate stuff behind it. Anyone who doesn't follow this philosophy almost always seems to get subpar results as far as getting jack, even myself included historically, the times when I did that. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.